It's always a little unclear.
All right, well, let's make it really simple.
Okay.
You're always emitting information. Everything physical is always emitting information. If you're animated with life, you're emitting energy and information. So what most people do is they say, I want the new house, the new car, the new relationship, I want a big bank account, I want my private jet, they do all that stuff. And then they visualize that, but when they visualize it, they never get in touch with how it would feel if it happened. In fact, they're hypnotized and conditioned into feeling the emotion when it happens. So they may do a little meditation or a little whatever, and they open their eyes and their senses say it's not there.
Yeah.
So what do? They experience more lack, more separation. So when you're feeling lack and separation, you try harder.
Yeah.
And now they try matter to try to produce the outcome because they're feeling separate from their future.
Yeah.
So then thoughts are the electrical charge in the quantum field, and feelings produce a magnetic charge in the quantum field.
Yeah.
And how you think and how you feel broadcasts electromagnetic energy that influences every single atom in your life. The thought sends the signal out, and the feeling draws the experience back to you.
Yeah.
So then if the person is living in anger, impatience, resentment, frustration, and they're holding the intention of their future, that's mind and body in opposition. There's no vibrational match between anything in their future because they're saying, why hasn't it happened?
Yep.
And they're waiting for their healing to begin so that they feel gratitude. They're waiting for their success to feel abundance or empowerment. They're waiting for their new relationship to feel love. Well, that's the old model of reality of cause and effect, Newtonian physics.
Yeah.
Waiting for something outside to change how we feel inside. And if you're living in that lack and you consciously or unconsciously know that you're creating your future, you're creating more lack. And if you're reacting to the people and conditions in your life that are all known to you, then your thoughts and feelings are equal to everything that you know. You keep creating the same life. So then if you have to truly change, then close your eyes, disconnect from the environment, sit your body down, and don't get up and do anything. Don't be in the program of the future, the past, and relax into the present moment. And now, teach your body emotionally what that future feels like before it happens.
Yeah.
Now, why? Well, the stronger the emotion you feel from the future you're creating, the more you're going to pay attention to the pictures in your mind.
Yeah.
And you're going to begin to remember your future. And biologically, it's the same as remembering your past. So then, you have to stay in the feeling of that future in order for you to be aligned to that destiny. And if you lose the feeling because of traffic or a coworker and you start feeling another emotion, you just disconnected from the energy of your future. Now you're back to the energy of your past. And if you tell me it's because of that person that caused it, I'm going to say, oh, you're back to the unconscious program of being a victim.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you're allowing something or someone outside of you
Yeah.
to control how you feel and how you think.
Yeah.
And that's a program. So then it takes great consciousness. It takes great work. So when there's a vibrational match between your energy and it's synchronized with some potential in the quantum field, now you no longer have to go anywhere to get it. Because you're connected to the field, you're going to begin to draw events or experience to you. And they're going to come in a way that you cannot predict. Because if you can predict them or anticipate them, they're nothing new. They have to surprise you.
Yeah.
That's the unknown, right? And that's the fun part, because the brain learns by mistakes and surprises.
Yeah.
Why not a few surprises?
Yeah.
And when that event lands in your lap and it comes out of nowhere, you will look back at all the betrayals, all the traumas, all the things that happened in your past, and you will not want to change one thing in your past.
Yeah.
Because it brought you to that moment, and that's the moment the past no longer exists. So people are healing from their pasts in a lot of ways when they do this work, and the side effect of all of this is they feel so whole, so happy with themselves.
Yeah.
They no longer want anything. Like all the things they want, they don't really want the house, they're happy with themselves. I think that all of us in this inner work have reached points where we have no movement or we don't see any feedback in our environment. And if something like this is not changing, I have a few suggestions for you based on my own personal experience. And I want to talk about those and frame them so that you can kind of go at this with a fresh energy and a fresh look. I always say, number one, nobody changes in their life until they change their energy. And when they do change their energy, they do change their life. And all of this work in our inner work, in the meditations that we do, has to start out with getting beyond ourselves. That is the key element to truly create. The act of creating is to get beyond yourself, get beyond your personality, your identity that's connected to everything known in your life. And if you're living by familiar emotions that are connected to familiar thoughts, or hardwired neurological networks in your brain, and your body's emotionally conditioned into the past, that's the known. When you're in the familiar past, you anticipate, not consciously, but subconsciously, the predictable future. In fact, people are always trying to predict the next moment by laying a known down so that they feel safe and secure. Even if it's an unhealthy known, at least they can anticipate or predict it. So the only place where the unknown exists is in the present moment, that sweet spot. And if your attention is on memories of the past or emotions of the past, then where you place your attention is where you place your energy. You're siphoning your energy, your vital life force, out of the present moment into the past. If you're anticipating the future and trying to predict the outcome or the feeling of anything in your future, and you wake up every morning and you think about certain people you have to see, certain meetings you have to go to at certain places at certain times, and all the errands you have to run in your known familiar reality, well, by the same means, you're siphoning energy out of the present moment into the predictable future. That's a lot of energy that you could be using to create a new life with. So your body, when it's on autopilot because it's been in routine, dragging a person into a predictable future based on what they did in the past, means that on some level they've lost their ability to create anything new to a series of programs. And so the only place that you will actually create in is in that present moment. Now, we go through great measures in our week-long events to take people as deep into that present moment as possible and learn how to linger there without a name, without a face, without an ethnicity, without a job, without a past, without their cell phone or their identity. Disconnect from their three-dimensional reality and take all of their attention off of everything that's known to them so they can begin to explore what they don't know, the unknown. And once you reach that elegant moment of the present moment, then it is time to change your energy, not as a body doing it, not as an identity, but as an awareness. And that ability to combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion is what begins to change a person's energy. They're broadcasting new information into the field. Now, the longer you're conscious of that energy, the more you are drawing an experience to you. If you do that properly, and then you come back to your identity, Manuel, back to your known self, and you disconnect from that feeling of what your future feels like, and you start reacting to people and problems in your life, number one, you're going to lose the feeling of your future, and you're going to be back to the normal familiar feeling of the known self. And now your energy is going to be the same vibrational match that's consistent with everything known in your world. And what is your world made of? Objects and things and people and places. So then the person reaffirms their identity by reacting to their current personal reality that reaffirms their personality. So in a sense then, you get up from your meditation and you're feeling the emotions of your future, and you then lose the feeling. You just disconnected from your future and you're back to your past. By the same means, if you are no longer feeling the emotions of your future, then you're no longer producing the same energy, which we would say then your energy is back in the past. And if you say, well, it's this person or this problem that's done it to me, then you're basically saying your environment, elements in your environment are literally controlling you. They're controlling your feelings and your thoughts, which makes us victims to our environment. So number one, when that occurs, people start looking for it to happen. They start trying to anticipate or force and control, to fight for it, to manipulate the environment matter to matter to see if at some level they can produce an outcome. And when we do this, this is when we're hoping and wishing and wanting and praying because we're experiencing separation. Now, this is not a conscious process. It's an unconscious process because now the person starts analyzing, what did I do right? What am I doing wrong? How come it isn't working? And if you're analyzing why it isn't working, you're the old self again. The new self doesn't actually think that way. The new self is in a different energy, in a different state of being. So point number 2, you got to be the prayer. You have to become the very thing you want in your life. You have to literally begin to embody the energy of your future and do it with your eyes open. Now, this is important because a lot of people will do it for a period of time, but they're still looking for when it's going to occur. And if you're looking for it, it means you're separate from it. If you're looking for it or trying to predict it, it means you're back to the old self. So then our job is to get up and maintain that modified state of mind and body our entire day, and to be in that energy and be so caught up in that refreshed new energy that it's so familiar to you that you know when you're there and you're feeling it, and you know when you're not. And when you lose it, you go back and self-regulate and recreate it. So you got to be able to sustain that state for an extended period of time. So A, make sure that when you're creating, you're in the present moment. If you're not in the present moment in that meditation, then don't go any further. If it takes you an hour to get there, then that is the platform in which you create from. When you do change your energy and you begin to combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, your next step is to remember the feeling, remember the energy, remember the state of being. And when you get up, you maintain that state your entire day. Number 3, when you're changing your energy while you're in that field of possibilities, the longer you can stay conscious of the energy, the more you understand you're drawing the event to you, then you would want to stay in that energy for a period of time longer than you normally do it. And that's, for me, something that I like to do. Like, I want to get caught up in the energy, and then I want to stay connected to it. I want to stay conscious of it. I want to remember what it feels like. I want to become more aware of it. I want to stay present with it. I want to see if I could bring it up again. I work on making it as familiar to me as possible. Now, I've done this in my life, and that is then what I do is I have little indicators in my day to check in with what my energy is. Is my energy dropping because of some person or some problem or some circumstance? Where's my energy going on a daily basis? And the management of my energy then is directly related to the effects that are produced in my life. So then set up notices on your device or in your staff or somebody that you have little references at 11 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning, and then right before lunch, and then at 3 o'clock. You get back into that energetic state, and then loosen up. Don't try to make anything happen. In fact, do the opposite. Just stay in the energy and stay open to it. Now, last point, Manuel. I have had dry runs in this work for periods of time. And what I didn't know was that during that process, I was making the most amount of strides and changes in who I was becoming. And it's important to recognize this because people think it's about their wealth or their health or their new life or their new job, but it's about who we become in the process. And so I would go at it with a new, fresh look. I would loosen up a little bit. I would be more playful. Certainly, I would practice the walking meditation, even the basic level 1 walking meditation, because it is essential for you to practice walking around in your daily life as that person in a different energy, in a different emotional state, in a different frequency, in a different level of awareness, and to sustain it your entire day and make that effort and make it be about the effort instead of the results. And do not put any attention or any energy on the fact that nothing is moving, because if you're doing it and then looking to see if anything has moved, you're in trouble. because you're taking a step forward and then you're going back to your old self and you're looking again. You got to stay there, and you got to stay there for an extended period of time, and you got to be able to do it with your eyes open as well as your eyes closed. And for me, whenever I lose the magic, I always go back to the basics. I write down the thoughts that I think about the most in my day. I start paying attention to how I speak, how I act. I start noticing the different feelings that I feel during the day, and that's the personality that has to change, and I have to become conscious of it. So the more you become conscious of those unconscious states of mind and body, the more you're out of the known territory called manual, and you're in the unknown. And it's a little discomforting, and it's a little predictable, but that's the place where the magic happens. So when you're in that place, then in your daily life, and you're outside of the familiar and the known, your job then is to live from a different essence or a different presence, and be so involved in keeping your energy up, or so connected to the energy of your future, that you're satisfied right where you're at right now because you feel like it's already happened. When you get to that point, without checking, without looking, without trying to predict, without trying to control, and you're able to stay there, then you'll start to see the surprises and synchronicities happen, because it takes a synchronicity or a coincidence to wake us up, to let us know that we're following the breadcrumbs now. So if you're looking, though, you're going to get in the way of it happening. So get involved in the effort, complete immersion of it, and pretend like in your waking day that the magic is happening all around you. Pretend like in your waking day that you're worthy to receive. Pretend in your waking day that by living in gratitude, in the perfect state of receiving, that you're so caught up in the gratitude of being alive that you no longer need anything. And when you get to that point where you're in that state where you're no longer needing anything, then you're no longer separate. You're starting to create from wholeness instead of duality or polarity. And it's an important element for people to begin to see those significant changes. And ask yourself, what feeling do you live by every day? What's the feeling that you spend the majority of your day living in? Because that feeling may be a feeling connected to familiar experiences of the past that's keeping the magic at arm's length from you. And work on unlearning those thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. And as an experiment, just by doing that, just be curious to see what changes happen in your life. Not make them happen, but curious to see when you change your inner state, what kind of effects it starts to produce in your outer world. And when you start noticing it, then when you do the meditation the next day, repeat the process, but do it even better. Refine it even more and see where it takes you.